Professional talk. Professional opinion. No jib jab. Unbound Radio.
And it is that while the lethality of their power is greater than ever, their capacity to impose control over the politically awakened masses of the world is at a historical low. Namely, in earlier times, it was easier to control 1 million people. Literally, it was easier to control 1 million people than physically to kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people.
The smoke in the air of our Concord bridges and Pearl Harbors is always smelled first by the farmers who come from their simple homes to find the fire and fight.
But if you embark on instituting a society where government protects you from yourself, you're in big trouble, and that's what they're doing. That's all government is force. I mean, do you have a choice about paying Medicare taxes? This government uses force to mold behavior or mold the economy.
Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday night edition of the Freedom Link right here on Unbound Radio. I'm Joe Joseph, along with the bearded lady. With Johnny King. John King, welcome. Welcome to the broadcast.
Why, thank you, sir.
And joining me tonight, he's been feeling a little bit under the weather, but decided to put on the boxing trunks and the MMA gloves, and he's going to do battle for an hour with Johnny and I. Mr. Kenneth Webb, ChangeDaChannel's here.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey.
It's good to have you aboard. As we start this off, I want to kind of go over a little bit what we're going to talk about, but I also want to highlight a fantastic little piece that you did, Uncle Kenny, about your little 2-minute thing called The List, or pardon me, The List, and and I think it's awesome because we need more of this kind of stuff, folks. We need more people getting out there and getting the message out in these short little these little hits, because that's the most important. You know, what I come to find out is that people don't have the attention span that they used to. So these little snippets, these little 2-minute videos or 2-minute pieces or little articles like that are great ways to get the word out. And I want to play it real quick right now while we got a little bit of time before we get into tonight's content. Here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, ChangeDaChannel.
ChangeDaChannel, and this is a show I do on the radio over at unboundradio.com on Wednesdays. And I thought I would share it with you guys. It's called The List. Now, today on The List, things that have made people question everything the government or big business says. That's not paranoia or a mental health issue. It's common sense derived from decades of death, destruction, lies, corruption, deception, and secrecy. Gulf of Tonkin, the Bilderberg, Operation Snow White, Operation Mockingbird, Operation Ajax, COINTELPRO, Operation Northwoods, Operation Gladio, CIA drug running, WMDs, Operation Fast and Furious, asbestos, lead, pollution, and DDT. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I do not regret arming the Mujahideen, says Brzezinski. Agent Orange, Whitewater, Ground Zeroes, air is safe to breathe, says the EPA. Iran, Contra, Watergate, BCCI, and JFK. Remember the Maine, MK Ultra, and all of its shells. DEA allowing drug runners to ship tons of drugs in the U.S. for information on rival drug cartels. Every day some politician is involved in a scandal. It's all on your HD TV. 9/11 Commission report, Bohemian Grove, the Downing Street memo is all out there for everyone to see. 1993 World Trade Center bombings in the FBI, FEMA, ICE, internment camps that everyone used to say was a lie. Funding and aiding terrorists in Syria, Libya, Egypt, and Afghanistan. Government human experimentations, killer pharmaceuticals. We've even winding down the Taliban. McCormick-Dickstein Committee, Gulf War Syndrome, and all.
You get an idea. McCormick-Dickstein. Ooh, he went there. Fantastic little short. We'll be right back after these messages, and we'll get into tonight's main story. So don't go away, folks. So much to talk about.
I thought that yesterday was a bad day, so I took my time to feel.
For hundreds of years, an elite group of oligarchs have ruled the land, fueled by a legacy of sex, money, power, and greed. In the last 60 years, their power has become more consolidated as they have become more organized. Their very own white papers and other documents show the diabolic plans they have in store for the population. Shade the Motion Picture, an Embellis and Burmis film, featuring Shepard Embellis, Jason Burmis, Alex Jones, Clyde Lewis, Webster Tarpley, Jordan Maxwell, Rosalind Peterson, Michael Murphy, reggae artist Skoll, Luke Rudowski, Servano Gonzalez, and more. Buy your copy of Shade the Motion Picture DVD right now at ShadeTheMotionPicture.com.
Savor the flavor of Unbound Radio.
Welcome back, folks, for one of the most dynamic personalities in independent media and a hard-hitting broadcast that exposes the corrupt and nefarious forces that seek to loot and plunder the people of the world. Make sure you tune in to the Change of Channel show weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. exclusively on Unbound Radio. And it's an honor and a privilege to have Mr. Kenneth Webb aboard tonight to talk about this issue going down in Florida. And this is boiling my blood, my man, because this sets a very dangerous precedent. And what I'm talking about, of course, is this Palm Beach County Sheriff, Rick Bradshaw. And now InfoWars has a piece on it that says, Floridians encouraged to report neighbors who hate the government. It's a bad thing, bad omen. What do you think there, CDC?
Oh man, it cooked my can because the thing, the mentally ill thing that, and getting people to call in on the neighbors, that's just going to promote people. I don't like my neighbor, so I'm going to call in on, or, in that article it says about, anybody, talking about they hate the government, and that can be construed in many ways. If somebody just pointing out, the deception and everything that's in the government and what's going on, or you don't agree with their, what they're doing, any of their policies, all of a sudden you hate the government. You hate the government. So then all of a sudden they're going to send somebody to your house to see if you're, and ask if you're okay.
Yes. Are you all right? Johnny, are you all right? Are you okay?
I'm incensed, Joe. I thought we were okay when most of the sheriffs in this country wrote Obama and told him to stick his gun control where the sun don't shine.
Yeah.
And now I hear this, I'm just beside myself. It's just.
I mean, I think these people are insane and delusional, my man.
Well, take it like this: you're down the street, you're preaching to your neighbor about the real current event that's going on. You're trying to wake them up. They think you're a conspiracy theorist, so they call the sheriff on you, and the sheriff comes and pays you a visit.
It sets a horrible precedent.
They've got Jews in their basement, Sheriff. They've got Jews. Doesn't it sound reminiscent of that?
Yeah.
Doesn't it sound? It does to me.
Absolutely. It most certainly does. Now, Paul Joseph Watson wrote a new $1 million program led by Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, aims at, quote, violence prevention. It's encouraging Floridians to report their neighbors for making hateful comments about the government, a chilling reminder of how dissent is being characterized as an extremist threat. This is a quote from the Palm Beach Post. It says, quote, Bradshaw plans to use the extra $1 million, and this $1 million was authorized by the Florida State Legislature, to launch a prevention intervention units featuring specially trained deputies, mental health professionals, and caseworkers. Oh, boy. The team will respond to citizen phone calls to a 24-hour hotline with a knock on the door and a referral to services if needed. This sets a very, very dangerous precedent. And especially to all of you out there that take an active approach to things. Again, this is the Do Not Fear Week, and this is something that you should not fear. But you can see that the mentality and society has changed now to where when you moved into a neighborhood, you used to be greeted by the welcoming committee, and, you know, you'd have a pie on your doorstep, or the neighbors would come over and, hey, Joe, man, you need to borrow the hedge clippers? Yeah, okay, well, that's fine. But now it's like they don't even know your name, and they peer at you through the blinds. And, ooh, what's that Joe Joseph doing over there? He's handling that rake in a very menacing manner. So, I mean, the whole mentality has shifted, and now this Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, goes and takes it to the next level. And he says, we want people to call us if the guy down the street says he hates the government, hates the mayor, and he's going to shoot him. Now, how often, guys, CDC, how often do you hear somebody saying, man, I hate my government so much I'm going to mow everybody down? I mean, seriously. When do you ever hear that happen?
Never. I never hear anything like that. These people have lost their minds with this stuff, and it does. It sets a bad precedent, you know. But hey, he's got the assurances from the sheriff that this is going to be done in a way that respects people's autonomy and privacy. And it's like what? And that makes sure to protect against people making false claims. Now, how in the world are you going to protect people against false claims when they send somebody directly out to your house knocking on your door anyway? Yeah. Because why there wannabe police officer next door who's all of a sudden the detective, Sherlock Holmes, and just sitting there all day with binoculars looking at you, look at that T-shirt he's got on, he hates the government, I'm going to call in. Man, get out of my face.
And Johnny, you know, what does this say about, you know, there are such things as, mundane details like the First Amendment that protects free speech. Why was the First Amendment so important? The First Amendment was so important because it protects speech again for dissenters. I mean, if for anything else, if we didn't have that First Amendment, well, then if you're not part of the members only club, then guess what? Right, Johnny?
Oh, absolutely. These people believe they're tin-plated gods. When they're elected sheriff, they're paid a visit and they're sent to school to be trained in a governmental fashion. So these people don't believe any longer that they're for the people and by the people. They believe that they're appointed and given these high offices over the people. Most of them don't, not all of them, but most of them don't understand that they work for the people. So this is where you get that mentality at.
Yeah, no.
It's an overreaction.
No, that's right. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or for the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. You can't expect everybody to sing Kumbaya when the country is being taken over in a tyrannical fashion by a tyrannical government headed by a tyrant.
Well, you better watch out now. You lucky you don't live in Palm Beach County.
Tyrant.
They would be coming to your house right now. They say, Joe, are you okay?
Oh, it just, it makes me, it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? But what happens is now here's the thing. Okay. So your neighbor calls, right? So what if you, when they come to the door, you say, where's your warrant? Do you have a reason to be here outside of rumor and speculation? So what happens then? What happens when they put you on that list? You know what I mean? And John, furthermore, let me say this. You know, in the independent media, folks, there is, and just like in the mainstream media, sometimes it can be kind of cutthroat. It shouldn't be. This shouldn't be a competition. This is a means to an end. We're trying to get information out to awaken people, but there are some people out there that are in this for different purposes. And let's just say this program is picked up by other counties in other states, and then all of a sudden, let's just say a jealous other website, perhaps another host, drops a phone call on you to your local sheriff. We've seen it happen before, John, in times past, working with different people, where next thing you know, they get an FBI visit or something like that because we chose to talk about a certain subject.
Oh, absolutely. Joe, you're absolutely right. We've been doing this for over 5, close to 6 years, something like that. We've started out in the Freedom Link as a group of people, and Joe and I are the last 2 remaining members because we've stuck by our principles. And the other people were more interested in creating discourse than working together. And when something didn't go right or something didn't go their way, the first thing they would do would be to call the FBI, call the sheriff, or whomever. Very sad.
I'm taken aback, but you know what? Now everybody knows I'm a spiritual person. I read the Bible, and I believe that is the true unabridged word of God. And in here, there's a very, very, very interesting verse. And it's a witness to all nations. It's Mark 24:9. And it says, "Then shall they deliver you to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake." And you know what Jesus' namesake was? Jesus' namesake wasn't Bible thumping and everything else. No. Jesus' namesake was truth, justice, honor, courage. You know, that kind of thing. Virtue. Not what people make it out to be by church doctrine and the doctrine of men. And he says,
if he walked today, if he walked as a man upon this earth right now, he would be considered a terrorist.
A terrorist. Yeah, he'd be an extremist.
Well, Joe, those are all qualities that make a person a strong individualist.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's what Jesus was. He wasn't a communist or collectivist. And he says, "And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many." We've seen that, haven't we? "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." And this is the thing that you have to understand, folks. This is why you can't fear. They make you, Johnny, they make us fear them. Or they try to, but there's not a reason to do that, is there, John?
Absolutely not. When you fear them, they've got control. And I want to point out an observation that I had while you were talking. Communism is mainly anti-Christian, so it wouldn't be prudent for Jesus to be a communist and be anti himself.
No, because he stood for freedom first and foremost.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. And not to mention the fact, let's just, now there may be some Catholics listening out there. Look if you were to equate Jesus, CDC, if you were to equate Jesus to a particular type of person today, what would you say he would be? Now, would he be opulent and, wearing these big robes with gold and everything else? What kind of person would he be today? What would he be considered?
What stereotype?
Yeah, if you would. Like, where would he fall?
He'd probably be like a hippie, something in the street, talking peace, love, but still
an
not
activist?
That type of hippie. Exactly, an activist. Not that type of hippie that is totally nonviolent because, as Jesus threw the money changers out, and kicked them out and everything. So, it's a good balance there. Jesus was the most quoted prophet in the Quran even. You know, I mean, it's been well talked about, and I think, and even atheists, I'll tell them, I was like, well, you know, bottom line, if Jesus was a man that walked this earth, and say you don't believe in religion or whatever, you gotta say, this was a good man who stood for what he believed in. He didn't back down in the face of anything, and it was all about good and loving your brother and being cool.
And what's bad about that?
Nothing.
Joe, if it were possible, I think since it says in the Bible that Jesus turned the water into wine and it was the best wine in the whole wedding, I think I would get his phone number, move to Colorado, and when my plants got sick, I'd call him up and ask him to heal them.
That'd be kind of good. That'd be kind of good. But I mean, you understand, of course, that this thing going on in Palm Beach County sets a very, very horrible precedent. And this sheriff really needs to hear from you, folks. So make sure that you look up the Palm Beach County Sheriff. His name is Rick Bradshaw. Drop him a line. Make a phone call. Write a letter. And let him know that these egregious acts against the Constitution will not stand.
Get ready for the epic new documentary adventure ride of your life. Shade the Motion Picture. Hub you into the globalist domain and embellish a Burmese film.
Nothing in this world works the way you think it does. Nothing. Governments do not operate the way you think they do. Banks do not do what you think they do. The police department is not here for what you think it is. Nothing in your world works the way you think it does.
We have to let them know that their world government has been identified, and they thought they'd include the world economy to bring in a worldwide police state, but instead it's going to bring them down.
You have to stand up, speak up, speak out.
Shade the Motion Picture. Order your copy of the DVD today at ShadeTheMotionPicture.com.
Are chemtrail geoengineering programs changing our weather and destroying our environment? Why in the world are they spraying?
They want to create a storm in the southeast, then they'll start engineering out over the North Pacific. That's where the trailies will be.
Find out why critics are calling Why in the World Are They Spraying the most important film that is revolutionizing the environmental movement. Go to whyintheworldaretheyspraying.com for more information.
It's just going to get worse until the point where we're not going to be able to grow anything at all unless it's a Monsanto genetically modified, abiotic stress resistant seed.
Why in the World Are They Spraying? New international version with languages available from around the world. Go to whyintheworldaretheyspraying.com for more information.
It's all about money, and weather is another form of commoditizing, a way the Central Command Group can commoditize another form of our life.
Why in the world are they spraying?
And if you control the weather, you're going to control the planet. It's that simple.
IntelliHub.com, just the website you were looking for to get all of your news from. Whether it be health, science, geopolitics, globalism, depopulation, or the ever-increasing police state, IntelliHub.com covers it all. You can expect top-of-the-line daily reports from our reporters and journalists, such as Avalon, JG Vibes, Shepard Ambellis, Derek Bros, Servano Gonzalez, and more. Check out IntelliHub.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Intelligence Hub. IntelliHub.com.
Unbound Radio. Civilized talk about unruly subjects.
Hey folks, don't forget you can take Unbound Radio with you wherever you go. by listening to us on your smartphone with the TuneIn app. Just download the free software, then do a search for Unbound Radio. Save us as a preset, and you can take us with you anytime, anywhere. Unbound Radio on TuneIn, a must-have app for your smartphone. Joe Joseph here. You're listening to the Freedom Link on Unbound Radio, along with my good buddy John King and our special guest, YouTuber and filmmaker and all-around awesome activist, Kenneth Webb, ChangeDaChannel. And yeah, I love that. I was waiting for it, man. It's 24 after, man.
How slow.
Oh, man. Yeah, so before we get into this, folks, of course, we were talking about the Palm Beach County Sheriff. Let me throw some information out to you that anybody, and this is what I'd like you to say when you call. You can say anything you want, but please make your rage, if you will, directed towards him in this fashion. You took an oath to serve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And the First Amendment of the Constitution is integral in this country because it protects speech of dissenters. This is, so people out there, grab a pen and paper, because what I'm going to do right now is give you the name and the address and the phone number to the sheriff's office, and I will also give you the phone number and name of the mayor down for Palm Beach. So first, the mayor here, his name again is Rick, R-I-C, Bradshaw. So Rick Bradshaw, he's the sheriff, and his address is 3228 Gun Club Road. Very fitting. Gun Club Road, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33406. His number, 561-688-3000. That is the sheriff's number. Again, it's 561-688-3000. Give the sheriff's office a call and let him know what you really think about them. And also, I would like to give you the name of the mayor. And the mayor is Gail L. Coniglio. Hey, paisan, huh? And the number...
Spell that for those of us who have no idea how to do that.
Okay, Johnny. Coniglio. Coniglio. Spelled C-O-N-I-G-L-I-O. Coniglio. There you go. And her number is 561-838-5414. Make your voices heard on this, folks, because this... That's right. Thank you, Chewy. Because this is a very, very, very egregious step towards usurping the First Amendment and our Constitution. And these are officials that have sworn an oath to protect and support, protect, and defend it.
And Jedi you will become.
Yes. Okay, so now moving on as we gosh, man, there's only so much time in a day. The IRS is going to, and like they don't do this already, but Washington's blog is reporting IRS to spy on our shopping records, travel, social interactions, health records, and files from other government investigators. More and more people staring into our fishbowl. Ain't that right, CDC?
Oh, man, and I know it isn't like everybody else is doing it, and then they're going to have the IRS do it too. Like they probably wasn't doing it on some certain scale as it was. It's giving them more and more power. The power to enforce Obamacare. Oh, man, these cats have just gone too far.
Yeah, for real. Now, U.S. News and World Report noted today that the IRS will use in robo audits and data mining, and it has told government and industry groups that its computers are capable of scanning multiple networks at the same time to collect matching data, comprehensive profiles for every taxpayer in America. Such profiles will likely include shopping records, so anytime you pay with your debit or credit card, they can see it. Anytime you use a shopper's card, like where we are, we have a Food Lion card or whatever. When you have that, they can see it. And we'll talk more about the other ways that the IRS can see into your lives right after the break, so don't go away. Freedom Link will return in 3 minutes.
For hundreds of years, an elite group of oligarchs have ruled the land, fueled by a legacy of sex, money, power and greed. In the last 60 years, their power has become more consolidated as they have become more organized. Their own white papers and other documents show the diabolic plans they have in store for the population. Shade, the motion picture. Order your copy of the DVD today. ShadeTheMotionPicture.com.
We all know the importance of having storable foods, but what about when the food runs out? What then? For real food independence, you need a supply of non-hybrid seeds. Introducing the Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com. The Survival Seed Vault is sealed for freshness and includes 20 varieties of easy-to-grow non-hybrid seeds for only $37.95. For less than $40, you've got real food independence, and the Survival Seed Vault includes detailed planting and seed-saving instructions. Imagine the barter power you'll have when the food supply does collapse. Right now, save $9 instantly when you buy 3 or more Survival Seed Vaults from MyPatriotSupply.com. Same-day shipping on all orders, plus free shipping on orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Or discover more emergency preparedness products at MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Get ready for the epic new documentary adventure ride of your life. Shade, the motion picture. A view into the globalist domain. Annabella Suburban's film.
Nothing in this world works the way you think it does. Nothing. Governments do not operate the way you think they do. Banks do not do what you think they do. The police department is not here for what you think it is. Nothing in your world works the way you think it does.
We are here to let them know that their world government has been identified, and they thought they'd include the world economy to bring in a worldwide police state, but instead it's going to bring them down.
You have to stand up, speak up, speak out.
Shade, the motion picture. Order your copy of the DVD today at ShadeTheMotionPicture.com.
IntelliHub.com, just the website you were looking for to get all of your news from. Whether it be health, science, geopolitics, globalism, depopulation, or the ever-increasing police state, IntelliHub.com covers it all. You can expect top-of-the-line daily reports from our reporters and journalists, such as Avalon, JG Vibes, Shepard Ambellis, Derek Bros, Servano Gonzalez, and more. Check out IntelliHub.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Intelligence Hub. IntelliHub.com.
Did you know that you don't have to be in front of your computer to listen to Unbound Radio? Now you can listen to Unbound Radio on your smartphone. Just download the TuneIn app at your Google or Apple store and do a search for Unbound Radio. Save us as a preset, and you can take Unbound Radio with you anytime, anywhere. Unbound Radio on TuneIn, your source for truth in a society of lies.
Talk radio at its finest. Simply put, Unbound Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's the Freedom Link right here on Unbound Radio. I'm Joe Joseph along with Johnny King. My special guest is ChangeDaChannel, Kenneth Webb. His show Monday to Friday here on Unbound Radio, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Also has a fantastic YouTube channel. Go there, subscribe today, ChangeDaChannel. Yes, sir. The maestro of the soundboard and sound effects. I love it. So now I want to get back into this IRS thing. Now, here's the thing is that they say that, the shopping records, travel, social interactions, information not available to the public, such as health records and files from other government investigators, are going to be scanned through now by the IRS in their so-called robo-audits and data mining. Now, we know that this has been happening for a long time because the independent media has been talking about this for a long time. That's why shoppers cards were introduced, because it shows trends in, what people are buying, what your interests are. If you notice now, cookies are ever prevalent when you do web surfing, and that they're, Google puts tracking software and tracking cookies onto your computer so they can determine what advertisements to send to particular IP addresses. So you have a whole smorgasbord of information out there that
like you go over to Amazon, then you go to YouTube,
sure,
and then watch a video. And what you're going to be advertised on the side over there is an Amazon advertisement. They're watching everything. It's crazy. They want to know what you buy. They say the information's going to be safe and that, they're not going to give the information to anybody else, but it's enough that they have it, I think.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. So these are very, very interesting things. But of course, this has been happening, like I said, for a very long time, not just by the IRS, but the NSA as well. And this harkens back to this other piece that happened towards the end of last year. That's when NSA whistleblower William Binney came out and talked about what the NSA is doing to spy, their domestic surveillance program, and everything else. Now, Binney, he stood among a number of other former officials who testified against the NSA, exposing a series of controversial methods that could put an end to the agency's post-9/11 domestic surveillance campaign. Of course, we know that will never end. And he resigned because of a conflict of conscience. I mean, here he is. He was a high-level NSA management, and, he took an oath. And he saw that people's rights were not being protected or provisioned for. And what I'm talking about specifically is the new listening center in Bluffdale, Utah. Now, Bluffdale, Utah has this center that can hold and store right now in its initial capacity every communication, transaction, anything out there for everybody on the planet for over 100 years right now. And it's set to go live here soon. So much so that the Daily Caller just recently did a piece on this. It says, analysis, NSA Utah data center would be the world's biggest iPod. And he's right. I mean, think about this, CDC. How much memory or disk storage space would YouTube need? Would Google need?
Right.
To keep their operation going.
Oh, yeah, huge. So oh God, I can't even imagine. For 100 years.
Have they invented a word for that yet? How big of capacity do they need?
Well, let me get into it. It says the NSA has recently denied that a data center is being constructed in the Utah desert will be used to monitor citizens' private emails, but the denial comes after years of speculation and whistleblower testimonies. In order to understand the magnitude of the Utah data center, the Daily Caller has come up with several useful, manageable comparisons. Officials known as the officially known as the Community Comprehensive National Cybersecurity Initiative Data Center. Ooh, wow! That's a good one there. The Utah Data Center was first unveiled in July 2009 by a report by the Salt Lake City Tribune. Plans for a data center in San Antonio were also announced by the agency in 2007. Although the exact size of the San Antonio facility is unknown, it took the place of a 470,000 square foot former Sony microchip plant. President Obama's comprehensive national cybersecurity initiative calls for upgraded infrastructure and increased bandwidth as part of enhancing the national cybersecurity capabilities. Yet, the San Antonio Data Center is only one part of the agency's capacity. Now, here is, let me see if I can find, oh yes, a January 2011 news release by the NSA announced that the 1 million square foot facility located at Camp Williams near Bluffdale, Utah, is the largest U.S. Department of Defense project in the nation. By comparison, Apple's data center, currently under construction in Prineville, Oregon, is comprised of 2 buildings, each 338,000 square feet. Facebook's own data center in Prineville is planned to be 3 facilities, 300,000 square feet, each when fully completed. Still, the NSA facility is dwarfed by some other structures in the U.S., for example, like the Mall of America, which is 4.2 million square feet. And this would be, in terms of comparison, the world's largest iPod. And, John, I mean, again, why would you need to record everybody's communication for the next 100 years? You're muted, John.
You're very, very paranoid is all I can figure, because you've turned evil and you're worried about a revolt. So you need to monitor everyone all the time. And like I keep telling you, Joe, humanity is in for a giant crap down their neck. And it's going to take about 2 or 3 generations for people to realize that they have to fight for themselves. And it's that generation that those slaves will break into the forbidden archives and find these types of shows and realize that the rumors and myths that they've heard in their childhood are actually true.
Right. So this is what I'm going to read you the excerpt directly from the NSA's own website, okay? NSA.gov1.info. This is the Domestic Surveillance Directorate. Oh, you didn't know that existed, did you? Well, if you go to nsa.gov1.info / Utah-data-center / index.html, you will find this little description on the data center. And it says, the Utah Data Center, codenamed Bumblehive, is the first intelligence community comprehensive national cybersecurity initiative data center designed to support the intelligence community efforts to monitor, strengthen, and protect the nation. NSA is the executive agent for the Office of Director of National Intelligence and will be the lead agency at the center. The steady rise in available computer power and the development of novel computer platforms will enable us to easily turn the huge volumes of data into an asset to be exploited for the good of the nation. The Utah Data Center is currently under construction and is expected to open in the fall of 2013. $1.5 billion, 1 million square foot Bluffdale Camp Williams facility will house 100,000 square feet mission-critical data centers, and the remaining 900,000 square feet will be used for technical support and administrative space. Now, here is I'm going to try and find the data storage capacity. The storage capacity of the Utah Data Center will be measured in zettabytes. What exactly is a zettabyte? Well, there are 1,000 gigabytes in a terabyte, and 1,000 terabytes in a petabyte, and 1,000 petabytes in an exabyte, and 1,000 exabytes in a zettabyte.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I say that it's a lot of bytes. But I'll tell you, think about
Joe,
that. Think about that.
Bytes.
Think about that. from a economical perspective, folks out there, if you want to get like let's just say an external hard drive for your computer to back up your stuff, you could get a 4 terabyte hard drive out there for, maybe $150, $200. 4 terabytes. I'm going to read that one more time. They're measuring it in zettabytes. There are 1,000 gigabytes in a terabyte, 1,000 terabytes in a petabyte, 1,000 petabytes in an exabyte, and 1,000 exabytes in a zettabyte. Holy smokes.
How big of a hard drive is that? Would that be like having several disks stacked on top of each other the size of a 33 record?
Dude, think about this. That facility is 1 million square feet. 1 million square feet of data storage and administrative space. I mean, that is just unbelievable, man.
Well, what medium do they store it on? I mean, do they store it on a regular hard disk that's all linked together, or have they perfected the science of writing to crystals? Because a crystal, it's been theorized that if you could write computer information and get the computer to read it off of a crystal, you could actually use a crystal cube the size of a sugar cube and put 4 terabytes of information on that.
Well,
and that was about 10 years ago.
Okay, well,
maybe they perfected that.
They could have. I don't know. When you start talking zettabytes, wow. I mean, that's kind of like, ooh, that's unheard of. It's almost like, in Star Trek in the 60s, how they had the flip-up communicator and all that kind of stuff. And people were like, wow, that's hundreds of years into the future. You just can't picture in your head how fast technology advances and can advance.
Yeah, a lot of people I've talked to who are engineers and everything talk about an exponential curve in technology, the way things are going. A lot of programmers talk about the same thing. They or software engineers, the exponential curve, like every year technology advances much further than it did before, as far as like holding certain information. I mean, look how big we used to use a computer the size of a room to hold stuff that we can hold as far as data, in a very small hard drive now. And it gets smaller and smaller. You can hold more information in that exponential curve when it goes up.
Right.
They talk about how fast it will go at that point. It's just like zoom. So I think that they could have, that actually was, when I was thinking about, you said the size of the building that they were going to house it in, and that seemed pretty big.
Yeah.
But just for the size of how much, because you said it was thousands?
It's 1 million square feet, but
no,
you mean when it comes to the storage space?
Right.
It is now it's measured in zettabytes. How many zettabytes they're actually storing at this or will have the capability initially? I don't know. But
and the size of them.
1 zettabyte is 1,000 exabytes, and exabyte is 1,000 petabytes, and a petabyte is 1,000 terabytes. So you can understand. Good grief, that's a lot of storage capacity. It's unbelievable, folks. And this is what we're funding. So every time you have a problem with the intrusion into your privacy, just remember, you paid for it. We'll be right back.
My money.
For hundreds of years, an elite group of oligarchs have ruled the land, fueled by a legacy of sex, money, power and greed. In the last 60 years, their power has become more consolidated as they have become more organized. Their own white papers and other documents show the diabolic plans they have in store for the population. Shade, the motion picture. Order your copy of the DVD today. ShadeTheMotionPicture.com.
In an emergency situation, would you drink contaminated water? You could if you had the amazing LifeStraw from MyPatriotSupply.com. LifeStraw is the most advanced personal water filter available today. It filters contaminated water from almost any source. LifeStraw is lightweight and compact, perfect for hiking, camping, or in an emergency like a flood. LifeStraw is easy to clean, comes with a 1-year warranty, and has been used worldwide since 2005. Get the amazing LifeStraw personal water filter at MyPatriotSupply.com. Plus, check out Survival Seed Vault, 20 seed varieties for only $37.95. Tatler canning lids, long-term storable foods as low as $69.95, and much more at MyPatriotSupply.com. Enjoy stress-free shipping on all orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927 or visit MyPatriotSupply.com. That's 866-229-0927. MyPatriotSupply.com for emergency preparedness, self-reliance, and food independence.
Get ready for the epic new documentary adventure ride of your life. Shade the motion picture. A view into the globalist domain. An Embellis and Burma's film.
Nothing in this world works the way you think it does. Nothing. Governments do not operate the way you think they do. Banks do not do what you think they do. The police department is not here for what you think it is. Nothing in your world works the way you think it does.
We have to let them know that their world government has been identified, and they thought they'd include the world economy to bring in a worldwide police state, but instead it's going to bring them down.
You have to stand up, speak out.
Shade the motion picture. Order your copy of the DVD today at ShadeTheMotionPicture.com.
Did you know that you don't have to be in front of your computer to listen to Unbound Radio? Now you can listen to Unbound Radio on your smartphone. Just download the TuneIn app at your Google or Apple store and do a search for Unbound Radio. Save us as a preset, and you can take Unbound Radio with you anytime, anywhere. Unbound Radio on TuneIn, your source for truth in a society of lies.
Fill it to the rim with Unbound Radio.
Folks, don't forget to check out the Unbound Radio website. That's www.unboundradio.com. Read through some of our exclusive articles, wander through our vast show archives, purchase a membership and gain access to a secure chat room and CD quality archives. Last but not least, hit that donate button. Send $1, send 42 cents, and anything you got. Help us expand the services and keep Unbound Radio going. We are growing like there is no tomorrow. I'm telling you. Going full steam ahead here. Go ahead, Johnny.
Joe, we were growing until that last segue right before the bumper music come on. We lost about half our audience. They're now in the bathroom taking a pee. We might want to rethink that segue there.
Is that one of those things? Oh man, I gotta go to the bathroom, and so you got that cruel friend that like turns the sink on to a slow drip, beep, drip, drip, drip. Oh, yes, subliminal messaging at its finest, folks. We just wanted to see how many of you out there actually had to go to the bathroom after that.
If you went to potty, raise your hand.
After that 10-second stinger. Anyway, Joe Joseph here, along with John King. You're listening to the Freedom Link right here on Unbound Radio, and we're joined by Kenneth Webb, ChangeDaChannel, his show Monday to Friday, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on Unbound. And it's so good to have you here, buddy. As we end with this last segment, I want to bring up this IntelliHub piece. DHS says cyber actors have engaged in malicious activity against the U.S. government. We are now reaching a point in America where the establishment really plans to drop the hammer by suppressing free minds they deem to be a threat to their operations. Remember, the sheriff's plan down in Florida is just one piece of a giant dynamic plan. This is not just, you can't be tunnel visioned when you start looking at this stuff. And it's not just one person trying to rule the world here, folks. This is human nature and the fact that, peace and safety, peace and safety, peace and safety. Oh, they shout it from the mountaintops. But when it all comes down to it, is it really about peace and safety, or is it really about control? And so now DHS and the FBI have come forth claiming that sensitive information and trade secrets have been penetrated. Therefore, there's a need to have an IP awareness list to monitor the activities of the, quote, actors. One must assume that the DHS and FBI are actually targeting alternative news outlets, and they are independently ran and not controlled by key figureheads such as the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. This also might be the next step as the establishment moves towards a push for new internet systems. Guys, you've heard of have you guys heard of Internet 2?
Yeah, I heard a few years back they were talking about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is, when you guys hear things like CISPA, that is part of the CISPA and all of the cybersecurity legislation, is the development of Internet 2.
Well, basically all Internet 2, to put it into a perspective where most of America can understand, it's like Skynet from Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
It knows everything.
It's a next-generation Internet protocol and optical network that delivers production network services to meet the high-performance demand of research and education and provides a secure network testing and research environment. Internet 2 basically would be like the speed lane or the express lane at a supermarket, but you have to pay for it. And so those that don't want to pay for the internet, and I'm not talking about your internet service provider, I'm talking about an extra additional fee on top of that, then you will be relegated to the slow-moving original internet. And don't think that they won't bog it down, and don't think that they won't slow it down. That is the whole purpose. And Internet 2 is going to be much more tracked and much more monitored. Not that they don't monitor Internet 1.
I tell you what, though, Joe, they bring it on. You know, they can just go on and bring it on because we always find a way. The revolution will live on no matter what they do. They can throw anything that they want at us and they still have to answer to us. We can see it when they have to answer questions, on the floors. And we expose stuff and they have to bring it up because, the people in the movement brought it up. They do that. They can bring whatever they want, throw our way. As long as they exist, we will exist and we will keep fighting and shouting. If whether we got to go out on the street corner and do it or whether we got to hack into something to do it, whatever we got to do.
That's right. And this just highlights, folks, in this hour, this is just a molecule, a granule of the surveillance state and the erosion of free speech in America. And we will continue to chronicle this. But again, folks, this is nothing to fear. This just means that you need to be more determined and more active in defending your natural rights. And that's what it's all about. And if you don't defend them, the government's not going to do it for you. So understand that, folks. Coming up right after these messages is Down the Rabbit Hole with Popeye. He's going to be talking about a federal jack reporter who got assaulted by the cops. He's also going to smack down Bloomberg and MSNBC. He's going to take MSNBC to the woodshed, Popeye style. So make sure you tune in for that. Thank you, Kenny, for stopping on by. Johnny, thank you very much. We'll see you all tomorrow night.